Hey, welcome back to Miss Maddie's studio. I'm Maddie, and today we continue my 2025 New Year's resolution of finishing all of my unfinished projects. Today's unfinished projects are two inked illustrations that I completed right at the end of 2024. The first one we're going to complete is this floating girl holding a glowing ember. This drawing came from a random inspiration that I had where I envisioned this floating, glowing girl. I wanted it to seem like she was holding something similar to Howl's heart in Howl's Moving Castle, but I had a harder time than I expected making that happen with markers. I had a very specific image in my head when I created this illustration, which sometimes makes creating way harder. I tend to be pretty hard on myself, so if I can't recreate the exact image in my head, I get really discouraged. But this is something that I am working on because it keeps me from fully enjoying creating art. And that's really the point at the end of the day, to enjoy creating, even with imperfections. I decided to keep her skin color a natural color, so I didn't have to think about how the light would be different on the skin if it were blue or green instead of the tan. I did mess up a little bit on the coloring of the lights, but I think I fixed it at the end. I accidentally grabbed the dark yellow right now. So learn from my mistake. Always check which marker you grabbed before you add it to the illustration. Thankfully, I was able to add some vanilla acrylic paint on top of the darker yellow, and I feel like that really mellowed it out. At least with traditional artwork, there is usually a way to fix things. For me, I love to work with alcohol markers, which both of these were done with Ohuhu markers, which are my favorite. But it is rather hard to fix your mistakes with them, and for me, I make mistakes all the time. That's where acrylic paint comes in to save the day for me. I love using it to fix minor mistakes, or to add a pop of color or highlight, or to even add some texture with a dry brush. It's really great to add those finishing touches to all your illustrations and pull it together. I love this illustration because I feel like it shows how far I've come with drawing people and hair and blending. I'm really impressed with myself over the blending and the little embers around her, and her hair came out really nice. Like I said, I don't typically mix colors like this because I have messed up with the blending before, and so I avoid it like the plague. But I've had a lot of success with blending with acrylic paint, and that has made me a little more confident about it, and I really wanted to try it again in this medium. And I have to say, I think I did a really good job. I mean, I used 3 different markers for the floating embers, and I think those are perfect, and her hair is beautiful too. Even if I really only use the dark blue on the ends, it's like my new hair, but in shades of blue instead of dark red and bright red. Oh, and even though my real life hair is that way, I am not planning on changing the pink hair on my avatar. But she still feels like me. So until that changes, I think I'll keep her the way that she is. I mean, one of the things on my 2025 to finish list is a new avatar though. I would like to make a VR rig and be able to have my videos easier for me. Well, easier in one way, and I'm sure way harder in other ways that I don't know about yet. Oh gosh. Like, I'll probably have to seriously upgrade my computer and get all the necessary software and, creating the whole base and then rig to be able to animate the thing and that whole thing. It's a huge project, and I probably will do it because I've been super interested in doing that instead of my static images, but if it is too complicated or, too much money, I will probably just update my static images and update my overlay, intro, and outro. I do love these ones that I have, but as my skills upgrade, I want to be able to show that in my videos. and video quality. I have really fallen in love with painting lately, and specifically painting nature and landscapes, which is really funny to me because when I was younger, I thought I would never be able to properly recreate nature in my art, mostly because I had a grandmother who was an artist who did mostly nature scenes and fairy stuff. She was extremely critical of everything I did, but she would really focus on my art. But that's okay. Now I know why she acted that way, and it was never about me, and that's on healing. I can't deny that me and my grandmother are very similar. It used to upset me and even disgust me, but now I have come to terms with all of the good parts of her. The love of nature and art that she did show me. She is the reason why I can name all of the animal tracks, name birds based on call, and know which bones go to which animal. She instilled a love of fairies and the Fae world and showed me how to garden. Those things I love of her, and I love that I am able to continue them in my life, even if I can't allow her in my life. Families are complicated, man. I'm putting the final finishing touches on this piece in the acrylic paint now, and as you can see, it definitely blends out that dark yellow that's in the middle of her face. And I added some bits to the hair to give little flecks of glow all up through her hair and around her. I love how the little embers glow, and I made it bounce off of her body, which I believe you'll be able to see better once I pull it up to the camera in a moment. This part is done in real time. I am trying to add more real-time bits to my videos. It's kind of hard because I tend to create slowly, and that makes it not, very much fun to watch for you guys. Unless I know some people are into the full creation process and want to see it done all full time from beginning to end, but honestly, maybe someday I'll do some live streams where that will be a possibility, but for now it'd be way too challenging to make that happen. So this is the first piece that we are done with today. I love her. She's hanging up on my wall right now. She's beautiful. There's the hair and her just hanging in the stars and trying to protect her little ember. In this next piece, I wanted to practice more landscapes and really fill up a space with creatures and things without making it look too overcrowded. So, of course, that means that I draw a forest with mushrooms, a fae person, and forest creatures, including a unicorn and an alligator. Why? Why not? Does it make sense that the mushrooms are bigger than the bushes? No. But why not? I would love it if mushrooms were that big in real life. Honestly, I think it's unfair that I can't sit under a mushroom and draw, or dramatically lay across one and nap in the sun. Come on, you have to admit that would be incredible. Or maybe it's just me? Oh gosh. I wanted to add vibrant colors to this piece in a way that only alcohol markers can achieve. That vibrancy is one of my favorite things about these markers. And their layering abilities too, which I feel like I used more of the blending and layering in the first illustration, but this one I used more colors in general. I like that you are able to use the same color to add shadows. It is very helpful for me, so I'm not using a million markers. Maybe my marker illustrations would be better if I did use more markers, but I don't know. Maybe I'll experiment with that in one of my next illustrations. I definitely have enough Ohuhu markers that I can make a huge illustration using a ton of markers. Maybe I could do one of those challenges where I use every marker I own. That would be fun. I remember seeing a lot of artists I follow on here doing that a few years ago. Would it be weird to do it now? I mean, it's not like I usually follow trends or anything anyway. This is when I really started getting into this piece. I loved the way I could flick the marker and make the little streamlines and leave perfect highlights in the water. It really helped with the movement. I also loved the blended sky. It didn't blend as much as I wanted it to, but I do love the colors and how it comes across as a calm, clear morning sky, like I was hoping it would. I had so much fun drawing the trees. I feel like I finally understand how to draw trees. Like it finally clicked, and I really enjoy drawing them now. I still have a hard time with the leafed part. Like, I can draw a leafless tree way easier than with its leaves. But I guess it will just take a certain amount of practice before that clicks too. Clouds are another thing that suddenly clicked, and now I can't stop painting them. I'm sure most of next week's video will include painted clouds on the wood slices. They are surprisingly easy if you just let go of what you think a cloud should look like and let go of perfection. Well, at least that's what worked for me. I mean, I feel like every cloud I paint now gets better and better because I'm leaning into this thought more of the looseness and using the flat edge of a paintbrush is how I typically make them come out the best, I've noticed. And you just take a little bit of paint on that flat edge, and with a almost stippling effect, you create the kind of shapes where most clouds are very flat on the bottom. I think at least with most of the ones that are typically drawn, I find they come out more realistic when they're more flat on the bottom and, you know, voluminous at the top. It also helps if you leave the edges a little bit like misty and clear. It gives a more layered effect, which is a lot easier to do with the paintbrush than I previously thought. Back to this piece though. I'm not sure why I didn't add clouds to it, honestly. I mean, the floating girl was supposed to be in either space or just floating in nothingness, so I can't really add clouds to that. But this piece probably could have used a cloud or two in the sky. I think it's because I was so worried about blending and those little slivers in between the trees and trying desperately not to get any blue on said trees. I did fail to do that, and at one point I spazzed out and made a lovely little blue squiggle on one of them. But I think I was able to cover it with the brown, the darker brown to be specific. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you can still see it. I don't think I can, but I don't know. I also love all of the different greens that I used for the bushes and the grass. I feel like you can easily distinguish between all of the areas, and it's pleasant. I love the little bunny and the little bird on top of the gator's head. I like how the water is moving and interacting with all of the different things that are happening. The fae's feet in the water, the unicorn and the deer drinking, the alligator, and it moving around the rocks. Oh, and I love the door on the side of the tree that has the stairs and the ladder. I feel like I could have pushed the details more in this piece. Added a few more different plants, or maybe another animal or two. I was really worried about finding that line between too much and too little. But maybe next time I'll be able to push that even a little farther. I've always admired the people that can make illustrations that have like a million details going on, and it doesn't look overwhelming, and it doesn't, you know, look confusing to the eye, and it's still pleasant. Like, I would really love to be able to do those pieces, especially the ones that are in black and white and it's just the ink, like black and white ink, well, black ink on, on white paper, but, or you know what I mean. Those kind of setups, and they just have all of these teeny details that it takes you, you know, an hour of actually looking at each little detail before you can fully dissect everything that you're seeing. I would love to be able to create a piece like that on my own. Maybe I'll add it to the roster one day. Alright, it's time to wrap up things for this video, and that's another 2 things crossed off of my to finish list. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Bye!